Last but not least, what I want to talk about is getting all our local storage values. Now, this isn't really a common scenario, but I wanted to show you it as it's quite a nice and easy task for us. Now, at the moment, we could say, give me all the local storage values, give me all the session storage values. However, there's no way that we can really go and grab them. We have our setter, we have our getter, but there's no kind of get all. So what could we do to achieve a get all? What I thought would be quite nice for our module is if we were to, down in the bottom of our index file, is to ask for the value. So if we say console.log and then pass in local storage, at this point, it might be quite nice to set up our own getter. So we could say local storage.value. Now this will not be a function call. We could make it a function call. And under the scenes, it will be a function call, but it's going to act as a getter. Now, if we save this out, we're going to see undefined because we don't actually have a value property on our local storage object. We could say value and then say 123, and that would then give us 123. However, it's not very dynamic and it doesn't give us the actual values that we're asking for. So for this, what we could do is adopt a getter, and this is where we can introduce the get keyword. So anytime a value property is accessed, anytime we get a value, we can then return some particular values from our local storage. So the easiest way that we could do this is to actually spread our store straight into our value. So we can simply return the spread of the store, we can save this out, and you can see now that we have a JavaScript object of X and Y, we have cookies, which is true, we have our Webpack log. If we were to go into our application, clear those out, go back to our console, give it a refresh, we then see an empty object. Of course, if we then hit yes, we do not get any change event. However, if we refresh, we then see our Webpack has been set by Webpack under the scenes, and we also have our cookies with a value of true. Now, there's one thing missing in here. Have you spotted it? That is the fact that we are still dealing with strings. So I'm going to leave it here because this is a nice, easy way that we can in fact grab those properties if we do want to simply go and access them. What it might be is that you could do give me the local storage.value, and because it's an object, you could go and iterate this particular object. So for example, we could say for const key in ls.value, and then we can go and grab every individual key inside our local storage. So you can see that we could perhaps use this to go and dynamically check if a property exists, for example. Whilst in part of a loop, it might be that we have multiple properties that we want to cleverly go and detect, and this will then allow us to do so. So that's pretty much it for our local storage chapter. What we've done in this video is set up a nice getter that gives us the value of our local storage in its entirety at any time. You can see that we've demonstrated using a console log where we say ls.value, and because it's just a simple object, we can then loop it and go and grab every individual key. And we've done this by simply spreading our store object. So whether it is local storage or session storage, we can essentially just pass the entire object down into a new object. And by doing so, this then just gives us all of the value. So this is quite a nice, easy API for us to learn. So I hope you enjoyed this local storage chapter and exploring it in a lot of detail. I quite like this getter that we can use. We've then got our set. We've learned about tries and catches, the DOM exceptions, we've stringified our data, and of course you can put whatever data that you like inside of here. It's going to get it, it's going to set it. You can set arrays, you can set objects, you can set booleans, numbers, strings, you name it. So this is going to give you a nice end-to-end solution for building web applications with local storage. We've also looked at removing particular keys. We've talked about emptying or clearing our local storage. And we've also added our own onChange handler for dealing with different tabs when data is then changed on another tab, for example. And we built out a small example that demonstrates how we can easily tie in a UI with some events to then set and get different local storage or even session storage properties. So that's it for this chapter. I hope you enjoyed learning all about web storage.